Aurelion Sol's early game is stronger than you think, and I'm going to show you exactly how. In case you're new to the channel, my name is Justin, otherwise known as Sol. I'm a Grandmaster 500 LP Peak Aurelion Sol one-trick pony. I stream every weekday, Monday through Friday, and I also post on this channel weekly, so dropping a follow or subbing to the channel would really help me out. So the way how this video is going to work is I'm going to show you some of the hardest matchups in the game and also some easy matchups and how exactly to play the early laning phase to show you guys how Aurelion Sol can actually be a lane bully sometimes. First, we're going to start off with the Xerath matchup here. As you can see, I start Q level 1, walk up and get some damage down. Now, playing Aurelion Sol in the laning phase is pretty much all about utilizing your Q as best as you can. You want to be just continuously positioning every second so that you find keyword angles to land your Q just like this. He uses one of his abilities, which gives me the window to walk up. You're going to see a trend with that. He uses ability again. I walk up, I press Q. I press Q again, Q.
Dude, this guy's getting shit on.
And, well, you heard it yourself from me. Also, this is going to be played on my stream, so if you guys want to check out more gameplay, please check out my Twitch. These games are also played on my stream, so you can probably hear my voice in the background. And I want to go over that real quick again. So I'm continuously moving around in the lane, alternating positions so I can get keyword angles to land my Q. As soon as I hit level 2, though, because he's so chunked, he thinks he can walk up. This minion dies. I instantly level up my W and just W towards him, and he dies for that. On to the next matchup. We have the Lux matchup where, so like Xerath, he's supposed to have prio, and Lux is also supposed to have prio as well. But you're going to see a trend. Use an ability, walk up. Use an ability, walk up. So you're going to see that this guy, I'm just waiting for his ability to come out, and I'm also utilizing Q taps. That's also another fundamental thing about laning phase that you really want to be able to get a grasp of. So I'm kind of just waiting for his ability here. Dodges E, and this gives me another angle to walk up. As you can see the pattern here. He walks up, he gets level 2, and he thinks that he can hit me through the 1v1. He exhausts late, but I get level 2 just as the minion dies, and Lux gets absolutely obliterated. Do not be afraid to walk up, guys. Really don't. Now, here we have another matchup to show you guys how exactly Aurelion Sol is pretty strong in the early game. In this case, we're facing Tristana, one of the hardest lane bullies in the game. But I'm going to show you guys how I exploit this one mistake this guy made, and then he just cannot play the game. I'm just kind of sick of people being like Asol is like super bad in the early laning phase, which he is weaker than a lot of mid laners, but I'm going to show you through this video that there are some angles to actually be the lane bully just like this. Even an AD champion like Tristana, she did make the mistake of walking up into the wave, so the wave ended up aggroing her and I win the hard trade. But look at this guy, makes one mistake and he can't even play the game. So you guys are probably noticing a trend of me walking past the minion line here. So let me bring out my pen here real quick. So I want to go over this laning phase just a little bit more. So he walks up, makes the mistake, and tries to auto trade me while being aggroed by my minions here. But notice what I do, and notice this is what you usually do in order to take over the lane. So because he takes this bad trade, his health bar looks like this, and my health bar looks like this. So because of that, I walk past this minion wave. Now, there are a couple of reasons why we want to walk past this minion wave. For one, like how we want to just zone him from the minions. And two, if you guys don't know, Asol's Q, if you use it next to a minion wave, they actually will not aggro you. So this is just a big thing to know. I mean, like, it's like one of the hugest thing to know about Asol is that you can walk past this minion wave and just zone them, especially when their health bar looks like this. With this in mind, I walk past the minion wave here, and we're kind of just tethering here and saying, hey, if you walk up, you're going to get queued. So this guy pretty much has two decisions. One, he has to B, which, I mean, he should have, which means base. Judging by you guys saw, he got soloed, so he should have based. Or he has to two, not walk up. I mean, you guys get the point. He can't walk up, or he has to be. In this case, he didn't do either, so he just dies for that. But even if he decides to be here, this is still good because he's going to miss a couple of minions. So just watch how I play this. He walks up IQ. And then another key thing is wait for that level 2. If they're chunked, you want to be hovering for level 2 upgrade. And notice how I wait for him to walk a little bit up and make that mistake, and he just dies for it. Now, on to the next matchup, we have the Syndra matchup, which is another lane bully. This is another cheese thing that you can do in the early game is like kind of sit in this bush or another bush and just wait for your enemy mid laner. In this case, he does take the bait and walk here. I mean, he can do what? You have to kind of think of like, what does this guy have for him to win this 1v1? Nothing. He has one Q that's like on a 3 to 4 second cooldown. So in this case, he takes the bait, he walks up, and my Q lasts for a couple seconds, and this happens. And he's just completely chunked, and this gives me a pretty huge lane advantage. Now you're probably thinking, oh, he can just back here? Well, I don't let him. Boop. So now we are in position to absolutely run the lane, even though this guy is supposed to have complete prior of this lane. Now, it's really important, even though I have this lead, to play it properly because he still outranges me. So I dodge Q, walk up, Q taps. Wait for his Q to come back up again. He throws his Q, I walk up again. Look for a Q tap. I know his Q is back up again, so I respect it. And you probably tell, like, I'm just, it's like just a pattern, guys. Just wait for their ability. Even if they use the ability, you have that angle to just walk up and go for a trade. So it's not
that I want a W second.
So you hear me? I want to go for this W second here. I do get level 2, but unfortunately in this matchup, so leveling W second, it only works in a couple of scenarios. And like the first 2 scenarios, those champions did not have their CC ability up. In this case, we're against a level 2 Syndra. Even though I upgraded W here, I know this is really important to know about and think about, which, by the way, all this is going to be discussed more in depth in the Aurelion Sol guide that's going to come out soon, so look out for that. But in this case, Syndra has her Q, which is her little ball, but she also has her E up, which is a stun. If I decide to W towards this guy will just press Q plus E, and I get canceled and I lose the trade. So with this in mind, I hold it here and I know I cannot W towards. Now this champion does have a strong early game, but only when you use it right. So as you can see, he uses his stun. I know I have the angle to W in. I'm looking for it. You can tell that I'm looking for it by walking up here. But this guy's playing smart, playing with his minion wave and not really giving me an angle. And I know, okay, his stun's probably back up again. So I'm just going to chill. As you see, he's going to look for it. And he uses that. And I instantly press W towards him, which, I mean, ends up not being a kill, but this is just the pattern that you really want to be looking for. I mean, he's chunked here. Basic gist is, in order to W towards them, you have to know if they have their main CC ability up. And as soon as you see it out, the second they use it, I just want you to W straight forward. You can use your W aggressively in lane, like so much, and not enough Asol players know about it. So you can see this guy's getting completely chunked. I know that he has stun up, so I can't exactly go towards him. The wave is going to slow push back to me, so I know that he doesn't really want to base here. And I'm kind of just looking for Q taps, and I really want to be careful to dodge his stun. As you can see, we're going to use E there to just get the it's
kind of hard to go in because
the comment off. Sorry. Again, you heard me say it's kind of hard to go in because I know he has stun. This is true. There is no angle to W towards him right now until he uses that stun. I'm trying to find the angle. And I mean, at this point, the Syndra in this lane, he probably picked up on it and knows that if he throws stun, I'm going to W towards him. And I want you to watch exactly what happens here. So, I bait out his stun, and he's dead. Yeah, he could have flashed away, but I guess he thought I wasn't in range or he wasn't going to die. But the point is, what you need to do on this champion, so we know that in order to W, they need no CC. So how do we solve the no CC here? Well, for one, we have to make sure they have no CC. So there's a couple of ways to do that. I mean, there's only one main way to do that, honestly, and just to bait it out. Now, something that obviously people know is that when Asol is queuing, he's standing still. But what people don't know is that like you can cancel it and it's only on like a 2 to 3 second cooldown after. So what you could do here is, I'm going to show you exactly what I do, is that you can bait it out by doing stuff like this.
Fair enough.
I drop the Q and I walk in his range, so he thinks he can get the stun off, but as you can see, I know he's looking for it, so I instantly right-click this way. I drop my Q, I just tap it, you see it's like on a cooldown right now, and I instantly walk this way because I know that he's probably going to look for it. Even if he doesn't look like it, it's important that we're looking for these opportunities. So because I have that in mind and I know how his CC works, I right-click back here. He decides that he can use it, and this gives me a free. My W's up, my Q's up, just a W towards him, and the least I can do is burn a flash. In this case, We get a kill. Now on to the Vex matchup here. Now Vex is, I mean, I'd say it's a pretty like even lane kinda, but I really wanted to show this example because this is another example of how I really took over the lane. So he walks up, that's an insta Q tap. Q taps and Q holds are the way, boys. This guy didn't really play the lane too well as we're playing around like Diamond 3, like Emerald, but this is on my Smurf. And he uses his main CC, so I feel like I could walk up and Q him like that. As you can see, he's already chunked, guys. Like, Asol laning is actually so broken if you really know how to utilize it. Now, watch how I set up this kill right here. You're going to see a pattern. I walk up, Q hold, autos. I get the level 2, and instant WQ towards him, and he's dead. Now, I really want to show this matchup right here. This is an example of an Asol favored matchup, which is the Vladimir matchup. And I want to show you guys. I feel like this is the lane that I played almost perfect. So he walks in the lane here, and I instantly get a Q. It's really important, level 1, either stand in the bush down here, or stand in the middle of the lane, so that if the enemy decides to walk here or here, you can look for Q opportunities like this. I looked for it, and his health bar is already chunked. So this gives us already a lane advantage. Now we're looking for Q taps and looking for Q holds. Every time he walks up, especially in this lane, Vladimir does not have any type of CC, and his level 1 Q is really not that strong. So if I can just walk up and at least get 1 proc, I win the trade. Again, we're looking for Q holds and Q taps. The reason why we're looking for Q holds and Q taps is because 1, we want to proc our comet, and 2, we want to proc our mana flow, and 3 and 4, we have presence, which gives us mana every time that we damage someone. So we're proccing 3 things with pressing Q for like half a second. So it's really, really good. Notice how this guy is not taking that much damage every time we tap, but it really adds up if you can just find as many angles as you can. We get another comet proc. Looking for autos as well. He hits level 2. I hit level 2 as well. I can instantly WQ towards him. Burn his flash. And the wave is going to slow push back to me. So 1, he's either forced to base or try and fix his wave. In this case, he really wants to fix his wave. I say, hey man, you can't walk up, and I'm Q tapping him. Remember guys, like look how I'm posturing in the wave here. It's really important to know your limits and where you can walk. And that's how you really utilize Asol's laning phase.
He's probably just going to base. He's going to miss this whole slow pushing wave.
I said he's probably going to base, or he's going to miss this whole slow pushing wave. In this case, he makes the mistake, walks up again. He has to burn his ghost. Now he has another decision to either base and fix his wave, but this guy is just not giving up this wave, and because of that, I flash Q, and he instantly dies. Now, we're going to have our last laning phase just to wrap it up here. We do have the Talon matchup, which is an assassin matchup. As we know, assassins are pretty annoying to lane against, but you have to realize that assassins are super weak in the early levels, just like Mr. Talon here. So, as you can see, the trend is every time he walks up or uses an ability, we want to look for Q taps or Q holds. Proc our comet, proc our presence. Every time he walks up, he doesn't have no room to breathe. And every time he walks up, and it's up. I'm about to hit level 2 here. I know that I can go in if he walks up. He uses his main ability here, so I know he can W. So I want to talk about Wing forward. So as you can see, he's using an ability, but you don't see me W forward. There are a couple of rules in order to W forward. For one, it's kind of hard to W forward. Let's say I take a W towards here. I mean, all this guy has to do is just stand right here. What can I do? My Q can't go this way. I can't carve around him. So it's just not worth to go for that. In order to W forward, you have to wait for the enemy to misstep. For example, if he were to walk right here randomly, I'm WQing towards him. But because he's standing by the minion wave like this, I can't W towards him. So I'm kind of just waiting for it. And you'll see it when I find the angle. But in the meantime, we're looking for Q taps just to proc our comet. And he makes the misstep here. And now, as you can see, because this guy, he's positioning correctly where he's supposed to position. I can't go on him if he stands here. But this guy runs it, completely griefs it, and he just goes in front of me, dashes to a minion because he doesn't want to move 1. Not only does he do this, like he could just walk here and I can't WQ towards him. But instead, he decides to walk this way, which has no coverage from minions. So this gives me a free angle to WQ towards him. And Jarvan, gonna miss the EQ. I flash over it and get a free solo kill. So just to recap, you want to be using Q taps and Q holds. You want to be finding every single angle you can to look for those opportunities. And you also have to know in every single lane matchup what CC the enemy has and what CC they don't, just so you know that you can W towards them. For example, some like favorable matchups that are really good is like Ori, Talon. These are just in the early levels, by the way. Of course, when Ori hits level 6, it's kind of hard to go under because she can just cancel you. But Vladimir's super free because in the early levels, they have nothing to cancel your W towards. But even then, in matchups like Syndra, which are supposedly supposed to be hard, there are some angles to play around it where you bait their CC and then you go in. It's also the case with Lux or Xerath where you just wait for their main CC and then you can W towards them. So maybe this is an eye opener, or maybe you learned something about Asol laning, but he's stronger than you think in the early laning phase. And I kind of just wanted to bring some light to it. So to help you guys win some of your games and do better in lane. But other than that, there's going to be an Asol guide coming soon, which covers way more features and strats with Asol, just like these, that I'm really excited for you guys to learn. I really appreciate if you guys could sub or drop a follow on my Twitch, which will be linked below, as it really helps me out and helps me stay motivated. Let me know if you guys like the video format and want more educational content like this. And thanks for watching, guys.